Hello, boys. This is Dr. Infinity. Welcome to White Pill Media.
Well, come on, men. 3 cheers for her grace. Hip, hip.
Hooray! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray!
First of all, I want to say sorry for not having a video last weekend. This is hopefully coming out on Wednesday, probably kind of late, but I just got kind of caught up with stuff, so I didn't have anything. Anyways, this week I'm talking about Downfall. Downfall is a 2004 movie. It's about the end of World War II, focusing on the final days in Hitler's bunker. Framing for this is from Hitler's private secretary. I'm gonna butcher a lot of these names, but it's Traudl Junge. So this movie came out in 2004. I think most people remember a lot of memes that came out of Hitler just freaking out over stuff. These were kind of popular in the mid 2010s, I want to say, kind of around there. I remember some in 2014, kind of around that period, but there was a delay. Well, I guess memes weren't really a big thing in the early 2000s. Anyways, this is a good movie. It's free on YouTube. There's a link down below. Watch it if you want. I think this is a pretty good, interesting movie. And it's free, so whatever. It's in I don't know a ton about the final days, Third Reich, and all that. So I found it pretty interesting, and informative. I have a friend who knows a bit more about this stuff. They've read some autobiographies, and he said they get a lot of stuff right, or at least a lot of the players and who was there. All that stuff seems to be fairly accurate. This video is going to be fairly short. It's definitely a recommendation, It's not just because it's free. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. I'd like to read up more about it. So, as I said before, our framing for the movie is through the eyes of Hitler's secretary, Traudl, but we also have a few other characters. There's Albert Speer. I don't know a ton about him. He just seems to be an architect for Hitler. I was pretty surprised that a lot of the Nazis and such they're allowed to just be themselves. You know what I mean? They're not caricatures, kind of. And I think it's just kind of this was made in the early 2000s. I think if this movie was made today, everything would be really ramped up quite a bit, and we wouldn't really be allowed to have these kind of human moments, So we have Albert Speer. He's an architect. We have this doctor. He's Ernst Gunther Schneck, SS doctor, kind of surgeon guy. Yeah, we also have this Hitler Youth boy, and we get to follow them around during the chaos as Berlin is besieged and everything's gone to hell. The war's over. It's been lost for a long time, but Hitler and some of those around him are still fairly delusional about what can happen. It's not a moralizing movie, which I think is good. I think that's important. I think that's important to just hey, here's some events. The camera isn't preaching moral judgments at you. It's just allowing things to be shown. And that's a much better movie than what I think would happen now. So we're just going to talk about some of the things I liked. I'm not going to spend a ton of time with each. This is just, a quick little thing. I like the Hitler Youth tank destroying squads. You got some young kids there. You got some young kids running around blowing up Soviet tanks. And it's Jesus Christ, but it's something that happened. It's something that happened. It's kind of crazy to think about, but there you go. We have some good stuff with Speer. Speer's it seems like he downplays later on in life exactly what he knew, what was going on, and all of that thing. It kind of makes sense because he'd probably be killed if he revealed everything that he knew that was going. You know what I mean? So it kind of makes sense. But he's one of our little mortal blocks. Yeah, we have some stuff with him. We have he has a good kind of conversation with Hitler later on, where he's he's still loyal to Hitler, but he's not really. He hasn't been obeying some of his orders because they're just insane. There will be a Germany after Hitler, kind of a deal. That's what he believes, but so he can't just follow Hitler's orders to just annihilate everything. Right. It's nice, we have the handless vet and his son, they reunite, and it's going to be okay. This little kid, he's had to see so many of his friends get killed. Yeah, there's the meme scene, which is whatever. Which is what, it's still funny, but it was just surprising to me that this movie actually came out in 2004. Oh, we have Hannah Reist, or Hannah Reist. I don't know how her name's pronounced, but she was this female pilot. She set a bunch of records. I think she was like the first woman to like fly a helicopter, and there were a few other things. I think she was the first and only woman to be awarded a Iron Cross, and she was just like this really famous pilot, and she flew in. I think it was with her like lover or someone. I think they were lovers, maybe, but like another pilot, they flew into Berlin, artillery and all that, just to speak with Hitler and to be with him. But there's a nice little scene with that, and then Hitler's later talking to that lord at dinner, and just you have Goebbels facing the camera, and just his eyes, when Hitler's going on about, by the way, don't worry, the Luftwaffe is going to be fine. There's 1,000 jets on the way. Don't worry. And just Goebbels' eyes are just fucking great. Oh, they're so good. They're really, really good. That might be the thumbnail. I liked Hitler's little burial with the guy saluting over the bonfire, and everyone has to duck with the bombs falling. It's just, we have this little moment, and then it gets broken up by the reality encroaching. It's not encroaching. It's crashing through. Like, we had that party earlier that Eva was throwing, and then boom, the bombs fall, and everything just gets shut down. It's not lasting, right? The really kind of screwed up stuff with Goebbels' wife, poisoning her children, and all that. But I don't know. I don't know. It's fucked up, but I don't know how they would have been treated under Allied occupation, you know what I mean, for being like the wife of Goebbels. They're not just kind of like average party members, they're really up there. So I don't know how they would have been treated. Maybe they would have been killed or something. Maybe this was a mercy. I don't know, but it was hard to watch. That was kind of tough. Goebbels has a little speech before he then kills his wife and then himself. Yeah, there's something else going on. Oh yeah. There's this group running around like lynching people, and I think this might have been Project Werewolf. I don't really know much about that. I think it was supposed to be a like resistance force to like Allied occupation, and this might have been it because it's just a group of guys running around and like lynching people they think are communists or traitors. So I don't know. I think that's what it was. But yeah, the guy's just screaming for order as they hang people. Those are kind of the big pieces. We have a lot of our characters attempting to flee at the end. A lot of them get caught. Some of them make it through. But it's definitely more human than I would think. With a lot of the commanders and even just the Nazis they're doing the best they can for the people around them. You know what I mean? It's the situation they're in. They're under siege, and they're trying to save as many of their people as they can. So, yeah, I liked it. Might want to read a book on it or two just to get a better feel for it, but I did enjoy it. There's another thing I saw a while ago. This is Mussolini, The Untold Story. This has George C. Scott and actually Robert Downey Jr. That was kind of weird. But this is about, this is like a little mini-series that's about the rise and fall of Mussolini, obviously. It's about 7 hours or so. I remember it being like pretty long, but it was pretty good. It's not historically accurate for everything, right? But it gives you like a feel of Mussolini. And it's like, oh, that was interesting. It's more than just, I think what would be done now. There's a little more effort and care to try to get an approximation of like who he was, kind of a deal, instead of just like here's this caricature that you're supposed to mock and hate, instead of like here's this person, kind of a deal. Fellini, I think that's interesting if you like kind of historical dramas and stuff. I don't know if you can find that somewhere online for free or not, but I think that's worth checking out if you want a little on Mussolini, because it's like I know jack shit about Mussolini, not a lot about Hitler either, or kind of kind of like a lot about World War II. But it sort of made me think a bit. Seeing this is like the old World War II guys like Hitler, Mussolini, Stalin, everyone, like all these people inspired so many people to die for them. You know what I mean? Like so many people are willing to die for this guy, that guy, or they're fighting for this or that. Is anyone inspired by modern leaders, even leaders from a few decades ago? Is anyone willing to line up to die for Joe Biden? Are there any leftists that are fervent believers of Joe Biden and that will die for him? For Donald Trump, maybe a few years ago for Trump. I don't really know now, but I don't really know like any leftists or right-wing people that would unironically die for a modern political leader. Do any exist except for like outside of like North Korea? You know, does that even is that even like a possibility? Like, is that sincerity and devotion exist anymore? Maybe not. Maybe it's just because they're all just shitty fucking garbage human beings and no one wants to die for them, rightfully so. And I don't know, someone could probably come again, you know, a decent person could arise and it might inspire people in the same way, but it's just like kind of nuts seeing this when we live in a time of such insincerity and not really believing in things. You know what I mean? When these people are like they're throwing it all on the line for Hitler or this. Yeah, that's downfall. Sorry this isn't like a super great review. I just wanted to get a little video out and point it out to people. Check out Mussolini if you haven't heard of it. I think it's worth it. Thanks for watching. Dr. Infinity out.